So, my name is George. I'm gonna here talk a little bit about background async jobs in Phoenix. I kinda like to name them async jobs instead of background, because the whole concept of background and foreground jobs is kinda fuzzy when you use Erlang and Elixir. It's gonna just process everywhere, process. And but first of all, let me introduce myself. So I live and work in São Paulo, in Brazil. It's a long way, 10-hour flight. This is my lovely city. I really enjoy that. São Paulo is the biggest city in Brazil. And just to talk a little bit about Brazil, I'm gonna talk about stuff you know about Brazil. Have you ever been to Brazil? Who has? Have a couple? Oh, few people. Nice. So probably you already know about Rio. So we're gonna have the Olympics there, right? No. We also have caipirinhas. Have you tried that? Have you tried it? Yeah, gringos always love caipirinhas. That's so funny. We also, Brazil is the land of carnival, samba, right? Also, Brazil is the land of soccer, or football for the English people here and Brazilians alike, okay? And also, of course, Brazil is the land of Elixir, right? Woohoo! That's so nice. But probably what you don't know about Brazil, and this may come as a shock to you, is that we eat avocados as a sweet with sugar and lime. Did you know that? No? Yeah, that's shocking, right? We eat avocados as a sweet, and it's gross, but it's delicious. I assure you. So I'm a co-founder at Plataforma Tech. We're the company behind Elixir. We're consultants based in Brazil. We do custom development for clients. We also coach new teams that are adopting Elixir. And we're gradually switching to Elixir and Phoenix projects. And so we're having a lot of discussions there with newcomers, with junior developers. And there are a lot of stuff that we already know how to do with Rails and with Ruby. And we're like, okay, so is that an easy way? How can you choose which options you have to do a lot of things? So deployment, we're like tons of discussions about deployment and eDeliver. I'm so happy to see eDeliver here. It's a kind of new tool, but very useful. And so we had this like huge Trello board with a lot of questions, and we're like answering each one of them. And one of the discussions was about async jobs. So here's what I'm gonna present is our summary on it. We just like summarize it and post it on our internal tool so that everybody coming to the framework could like easily grasp this concept. So first thing you may have heard is Task.async, right? It's on the Getting Started guide, on the books, people talking about it. You probably don't want to use that for background jobs. And that has a very simple reason to do. It links the task with the caller. What it means is, of course, if you have two processes that are linked, if one of them dies, and this is very dramatic, the caller dies too. So usually the caller is like your controller. Your request is usually holding the connection to the user. Sometimes the user does not even get a error 500, just drops the connection. So what is it good for? What is Task.async good for? Think of that more like futures and promises. So maybe you're trying to like get a few requests to several databases, maybe several external resources, several APIs. So think more about Task.async as futures, and you're gonna be good. So also beware of equivalent. So task.startLink also, of course, links the two together. And you may think, oh, let's use Task.Supervisor, but be aware, if you use Task.Supervisor async, it's going to be the same problem as well. So the other cool thing that you can use already comes with Elixir is the Task Supervisor. You don't need to create it. You already have it in your Elixir code. So Task Supervisor is friend in a lot of situations. You already have it available, and the way you can use it is, this is an application example. It's just an application called Backyard. This is the main supervisor. So you see it's all the Phoenix, like the default stuff, the endpoint, the repo for Ecto, and we just created another supervisor here. We name it, in this example I'm gonna show you, this is real code. We have, I just changed the app name. We have spreadsheet importer. Everybody loves spreadsheet, right? Yeah. And we create a new supervisor and name it. And this is very cool thing is to name your supervisor as well, because you're gonna save a lot of time after when you're searching for stuff. And that's it. And the way you can, you can start a new job, a new background job, is to use the Task Supervisor start child. You pass the name that you just created, although this is just a name that is registered in the Elixir process. It's not a full-fledged module, so you cannot, there's no functions in this, it's just a name. And just start it, and you pass your worker, your job, your whatever you want to do. So that's it, pretty basic. And cool thing is that Task Supervisor is an opinionated supervisor. It's really cool. It has 2 default options that are very useful for this kind of jobs. So first of all, it's gonna, let me show you. Yeah, that's it. It's gonna set if you wanted to build your own Task Supervisor, it's probably what you would do. Like to get a strategy as a simple one-for-one. This is so that you can dynamically add more children. And if one of them dies, the other ones were they were just gonna be fine. And also the restart strategy here, when you instantiate a new worker and you declare a new worker here, is temporary. So supervisor is not gonna try to restart it if it's failed or if it is completed. So if it is completed, the worker is gonna die and supervisor won't care about it. So we've been using it for a lot of things in our apps, things like spreadsheet importer, image resizer, like email sender also, counter caches and ratings. So you have like 5 stars, 1 star, you kind of want to average them, like for a day, for a week. We're using that for it. And cool thing is that it's already available in your language, so it's very useful when you wanna like take off some load from the request, although the request is very fast. You already know about it on microseconds, although I cannot get my machine to run Phoenix under the microsecond time, because my machine is from 2011, I guess, so maybe it's time for an upgrade. And another cool thing is that during deployments, although you can use hot code reload and all the stuff that Peter was talking about, when you're starting, like you just wanted the basic stuff, like restart, take it down, get the new version, start up the thing again. So one cool thing is that you have to think about what happens if I shut down my app. What happens with all the tasks that are running? Will that just be killed? And when you create your worker inside the supervisor spec, you can pass an option. You have three possible options to pass to the shutdown strategy. So you can set it as a brutal kill. It's going to be killed instantly. You can get infinity. So the supervisor will wait forever for the worker to finish. You may think that's not useful, but it actually is if your actually, if your child is another supervisor, this is going to be very useful. And you can also pass an integer, so it's the time that's going to wait for it. And the way it works is that when the supervisor, through the supervision tree, when it gets a shutdown request, the supervisor will send a shutdown signal to all its children. It's going to wait for a while if you set that integer. And after that, if the children are already awake, it's going to send the kill and brutally kill all your children, which is not something we should have said out loud. I'm sorry. And when you're using background jobs with Elixir, there's a cool thing you need to be aware, and this is very different from other ecosystem, other platforms. So you have millions of processes, right? We can do that, have millions of processes, and usually this is not a problem with Elixir until you talk to external resources. So Brandon earlier, he was saying about how they could handle the load of all the other services hitting Phoenix and without breaking a sweat. Imagine the other way around. If your Phoenix app was sending requests to a lot of external resources to a particular service, that team that maintains that app, they're not gonna like you. That's true, that's true. So for them, and for you, of course, you have to think about restraining some of these millions of processes. And of course, easy way to do that with pools. We have a tool available in the Erlang community, in the Elixir community. It's called Pool Boy. And a cool, good practice with pools is like to have a Gen server as an event manager. So the event manager is responsible to receive the messages, for checking out a worker from the pool, and then sending the message to them. So this is just a broker, and of course, and the workers you need to have a suitable number of workers, and suitable will depend on the external resources you're talking about. So you have to like take measurements and experiment with them. But if you're gonna talk about pools, maybe you also wanna, for external like services that you don't control very well, they could like get you, they could be not available, they could get you a 500 error, so you may wanna retry those jobs, right? This is usual. And then you could do that with task supervisors. You could, of course, make your own Gen server that does all this kind of stuff. But then again, there's already very good tools for that. So when I talk about external queues, I usually go with work, which is not I guess it's a pretty young library. And actually, it's written by Eduardo. It's a Brazilian also. I didn't know that. I just got word today that this is a very good work done by a Brazilian. That's nice. So work. How do you say it? Work. How do you say that? Work. Okay. So work already uses this good practice of having an event manager and of course a pool of workers that you can control how many workers you wanna do that, and it already comes with a really cool interface that you can of course see how many retries, all the queues, and the stack traces for the worker. You can see what the worker is doing. And how many how many reductions and all the stuff that you could see with the observer tool. And so during our discussions with the team at Platform Attack, we were kind of okay. So how can we decide? Is there a way that we can make this kind of thought process easier? And we came up with a rule of thumb, and actually, this is a funny common scenario with Elixir. A lot of complicated stuff, a lot of difficult stuff that you are used to doing in other languages are kind of lose the meaning. Like, oh, this is so easy here. Just put a gen server, just create this thing. OTP that, or Elixir Red comes with a tool for that. Microservices, maybe you don't need that, maybe you need umbrella applications, something like that. And our rule of thumb is very, very, very simple. If you're not accessing external resources, like in HTTP serves, anything you cannot control, if you're not accessing those kind of resources, just use Task.Supervisor. Use your tasks beneath it, create it. Maybe you want to deal with the supervision tree a little. You want to tweak that so that you can like fireproof your workers and your system. But usually just it. If you need to access external resources, you may need to be mindful of two things, like not overloading that service, which may be an internal service that your organization already has. And you also need to deal with retries. Maybe you want to retry some kind of jobs. So log out the exceptions in both cases. Review them frequently. Sometimes we just log that and don't care about it, but please do check them. And if you want to retry or want to access external resources, just use Work. Works very well. Uses Redis, so it's an external component that you need to have. I really do believe that Elixir will also come up with good tools. So Phoenix already has a PubSub module. There's also, so if you've been following Elixir development, we are building Gen Broker, so you can, it was called Gen Router. So I think this is going to be ideally for this kind of situations. And so that's it. And just as a conclusion, I want to, so we're the company behind Elixir. I want to hear more stories about Elixir, like we're doing this day. And if you have any grudges and anything you're thinking about deploying, adopting Elixir, anything that's keeping you from that, please let me know. I want to hear about it. I wanna do something about it. That's it. Thank you.
We have time for a couple questions for George.
Nice.
Do you have any best practice for like scheduling future jobs, like running jobs at a certain time?
Scheduling, we've been using Chrome for that, and just it. You can also use a timer to send a message to yourself, so you can do that as well, but we're not using that for now. Another one? No?
I mean, I can say that Burke actually handles, so actually Burke is using the sidekick format in Redis, so we actually use it at work for sending from Ruby to Elixir back. So.
It's, I think back there, yeah? Okay. So they're saying that since Work already uses a sidekick kind of implementation, you can already put some like specifications for doing a job frequently. You can schedule that.
Everyone's hungry.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much.
George Guimarães.